The April 12th meeting of Senate Finance Committee will come to order. As of present plan is that we're going to meet until noon, recess until 30 minutes after floor session ends, and we're going to begin today with the Judiciary and Public Safety Bill. Then the plan would be to take the Jobs Bill, and then followed by Labor, which would be folded into that bill, and then the Commerce Bill. And so we have a lot of bills on the agenda today. We do not have a quorum yet. We will have one shortly, I believe, but we'd like it if Senator Latz, well, first of all, welcome to the Senate Finance Committee, and please go ahead with your presentations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. This is the Judiciary and Public Safety Omnibus Budget Bill for this year. You know, as you have heard often, the budget is the ultimate policy document. It stipulates our proposed priorities for how we approach funding, in this case, the constitutionally independent judiciary branch and the executive agencies for the Department of Public Safety, at least our committee's portion of it. We share it with the Transportation Committee, the entire Department of Corrections and the entire Department of Human Rights, and a few other things scattered in there. I'm very pleased to present this bill. I appreciate the target that we were given. It gave us room to make some really significant advances. I believe in criminal justice, in civil justice, in public safety, and in human rights. So as we walk through, you will see the outline of those pieces, all of which are connected in one way or another to budgetary implications. We will have separate policy-only omnibus bills moving forward. We have tried to limit this bill to those which are connected in some way or another to the budget. I really appreciate that, too. It's been a focus of mine over the years. I appreciate the chair's emphasis on that. When we get into conference committee, we know there's going to be an agglomeration of everything because the House doesn't share that same principled approach. So with that said, I would like to ask our fiscal staff and our Senate counsel to review the details, and then I'll be happy to fill in any blanks, answer any questions. Thanks,
Mr. Turner, welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. I'd like to start by going over the bill's targets. It has a fiscal year 24-25 general fund target of $880 million over a $2.7 billion base. It's a 33% increase. Its tails target for 26 and 27 is $710 million. The bill also has internal sub-targets, one for judiciary and one for public safety. The judiciary target is $230 million in 24-25 with $260 million in tails. The public safety target is $650 million in 24-25 with $450 million in tails. Now we'll move on to the spreadsheet. I'll be going over the decision items only, governor's recommendations versus committee recommendations. The first agency is the Supreme Court, and the first decision item is on line 5. That's maintain justice operations. That's essentially court salaries, employees and judges. The governor recommends 9% the first year and 6% the second year. That comes to $3,214,000 in 24 and $5,734,000 in 25, 26, and 27. The committee concurs with this recommendation. On line 6, we have Senate File 1117. Mince's costs for extreme risk protection orders. This is one of 3 firearm provisions which are now in the Finance Committee with costs carried by this bill. The Senate's carrying $91,000 the first year, $182,000 second and subsequent. Then we move on to civil legal services, line 12. An increase. The governor recommended an increase of $6,084,000 the first year, $11,055,000 in 25, $15,573,000 in 26, and $20,057,000 in 27. The committee recommendation is identical for 24 at $6,084,000. Its 25 recommendation is $9,874,000. 26 and 27 are at $11,701,000. We move to Court of Appeals, line 21. Once again, the governor recommends 9% salary increase the first year, 6% the second. It comes to $1,032,000 the first year, $1,836,000 second and subsequent, and the committee concurs. District Courts, line 28, maintain justice operations. Again, 9% increase the first year, 6% salary increase the second. Comes to $25,278,000 the first year, $45,388,000 second and subsequent, and the committee concurs. Line 29 is court case backlog. The governor recommends a one-time appropriation of $8,421,024. The committee funds this at $6,545,000 one time in 24. We have mandated psychological services. The governor recommends $1,996,000 each year ongoing, and the committee concurs. New treatment courts, $422,000 each year ongoing, and the committee concurs. Courtroom technology enhancements, the governor recommends a one-time appropriation of $7,400,000, and the committee concurs. And we have a Senate file only provision on line 33, law clerk starting salary increase. The committee funds this at $2,033,000 each year ongoing. And finally, under district courts, we have the contract interpreter payment rate continuation. The governor recommends $200,000 each year ongoing, and the committee concurs. We move to the guardian ad litem board. One decision item on line 41, maintain guardian ad litem board operations. Guardian ad litem is part of the judiciary. It also comes in at a 9% salary increase recommendation the first year, 6% the second. That comes to $1,543,000 the first year, $2,805,000 second and subsequent, and the committee concurs. And we have the tax court on line 47, maintain current services. The governor recommended $217,000 the first year, $352,000 second and subsequent, and the committee concurs. Tax court e-filing on line 48, $75,000 each year ongoing, with which the committee concurs. Move to page 2. We have the Uniform Laws Commission, maintain current services, $15,000 each year ongoing. The committee concurs. Board of Judicial Standards, maintain current services, $69,000 the first year, $59,000 second and subsequent. Committee concurs. Public Defense Board, on line 69, the increase to the public defender that the governor recommended is $42,725,000 the first year, $52,951,000 second and subsequent, and the committee concurs. We have sentencing guidelines on line 76, maintain current services, $26,000 the first year, $54,000 second and subsequent. The committee concurs. Expand analysis of sentencing-related data on line 77, $125,000 the first year, $124,000 second and subsequent. Committee concurs. The small agency resource team, accounting, budgeting, and human resources for the guidelines. Governor recommends $50,000 each year ongoing. The committee concurs. Fully integrate the guidelines with the court information system. Governor recommends $340,000 in 24, $348,000 in 25, with tails of $78,000 each year. In 26 and 27, the committee concurs. Then on line 80, we have the comprehensive review of the guidelines, first phase. The governor recommends $243,000 the first year, $147,000 the second, with no tails, and the committee concurs. We move on to the Department of Public Safety. The first division in the Department of Public Safety is Homeland Security and Emergency Management. The first line item is on line 89. Maintain current services level. The governor recommends $184,000 the first year, $262,000 second and subsequent, and the committee concurs. We have on line 90, additional emergency preparedness staff. The governor recommends $500,000 each year ongoing. The committee recommends, or the committee funds this at $250,000 each year ongoing. School Safety Center staff, the governor recommends $300,000 each year ongoing. The committee funds this at $150,000 each year ongoing. And we have a Senate-only provision on line 92, supplemental nonprofit security grants. The Senate funds this at $225,000 each year, one time. Line 93 is another Senate-only provision, local emergency management grants. The Senate funds this at $1,500,000 each year, one time. That's it for the general fund decision items on line 2. We'll move to page 2. We'll move to page 3 and the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. First line is on 105, maintain current services level. The governor recommends $9,295,000 the first year, $11,473,000 second and subsequent, and the committee concurs. Then we have use of force investigations unit. This is a continuation of funding for this unit. The governor recommends $4,419,000 each year ongoing, and the committee concurs. On line 107, we have violent crime reduction strategy in the governor's budget. He funds it at $12,073,000 the first year and $11,710,000 second and subsequent. What the Senate bill does is essentially cuts the appropriation in half and breaks it out into the three activities on lines 108, 109, and 110. 108 is the violent crime reduction strategy, BCA forensic services. The committee funds this at $2 million each year ongoing. Then we have analytical and operational services, $2 million each year ongoing. And investigative partnerships on line 110, $2 million the first year, $1,600,000 second and subsequent. On line 111, we have Senate File 1116, firearm transfer permitting modification. The governor's numbers at 249 and 34 entails, or each year and entails, relates to his overall firearm package. The committee funds this at $70,000 in 24 one time, reflects Senate File 1116's costs within the fiscal note for that bill only. On line 112, we have Human Trafficking Response Task Force. The governor recommends $3,304,000 each year ongoing. Committee funds this at $2,200,000 each year ongoing. We have FBI compliance, IT, and cybersecurity. The governor funds this at, or recommends $9,910,000 the first year, $5,097,000 in 25, and $3,267,000 each year in 26 and 27 for tails. And the committee concurs with the governor's recommendation. On line 114, we have the state fraud unit. Governor recommends $1,300,000 each year ongoing. The committee funds this at $870,000 each year ongoing. Excuse me. Line 115, we have decreased forensic services turnaround. The governor recommends $6,164,000 the first year and $5,131,000 second and subsequent. The committee funds this at $3 million the first year and $2.5 million second and subsequent. Line 116 is CALIA accreditation. That's Commission on Accreditation of Law Enforcement Agencies. The governor recommends $228,000 in each of 24 and 25 and $212,000 in 26 and 27. The committee did not fund this item. Line 117 is Senate file only provision, clean slate expungement, Senate file 2023 or 2055. Committee funds this at $3,737,000 in 24 and $190,000 in 25, 26, and 27. Then finally, under the BCA, we have another Senate-only provision, Senate File 186, the Fusion Center Activities Report, which the Senate or the committee funds at $115,000 each year, one time. Moving on to the fire marshal. The fire marshal is funded primarily from the fire safety account in the special revenue fund with two general fund provisions. The first general fund provision is on line 128, maintain current services level. It's $6,000 the first year and $12,000 the second. Subsequent, the committee concurs. That's to pay basically the upkeep or the on the one employee, which is funded by the general fund within the division. On line 129, we have the second general fund provision, hazardous material response and bomb squad reimbursement. The governor recommended $1 million each year ongoing, and the committee concurs. Then we have three special revenue line items, which I'll quickly go over here. The first is on line 130, maintain current services level, $484,000 the first year, $837 second and subsequent. The committee concurs. Hazardous material assessment team, $70,000 each year ongoing. The committee concurs. And additional staff and operating costs for the office of the fire marshal, $2,535,000 each year ongoing, with which the committee concurs. I'll be circling back to the fire safety account later in the bill to talk about further about these appropriations. Then we move on to the Firefighter Training and Education Board. This is another division funded by the fire safety account in the special revenue fund. It has one special revenue increase. The governor recommends $383,000 each year ongoing for firefighter task forces 1 and 2 and the Minnesota Air Rescue team. And the committee concurs. On line 142, there's a general fund request for firefighter training and education, $1 million each year ongoing. The committee funds this at $1 million each year, one time. Move to page 4, Alcohol and Gambling Division within the Department of Public Safety. First decision item is maintain current services level. Governor recommends $550,000 the first year, $805,000 second and subsequent, and the committee concurs. Line 152, Enforcement Division IT improvement, $600,000 the first year, $100,000 second and subsequent is the governor's recommendation, and the committee concurs. We move on to the Office of Justice Programs Division. Line 161, maintain current services level, $392,000 the first year, $600,000 second and subsequent. The committee concurs. On line 162, we have the Federal Victims of Crime, or VOCA Act, funding gap. The governor recommends $11 million each year ongoing. The committee funds this at $11 million each year, one time. Then we have Office of Justice Program additional staff. The governor recommends $667,000 the first year, $1,334,000 second and subsequent. The committee funds this at $667,000 each year ongoing, so the tails are cut in half. Then we have domestic and sexual violence housing programs. The governor recommends $1,250,000 each year ongoing. The committee funds this at $1,250,000 each year, one time. We have Senate File 55, missing and murdered African American women and girls, the creation of the board. The governor recommends $1,248,000 each year ongoing. The committee funds this at $790,000 each year ongoing. Then we have Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives Board, the expansion of the board. Governor recommends $274,000 each year ongoing, and the committee concurs with the governor's rec. Line 167, Senate File 36, Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives Reward Fund is a one-time appropriation of $110,000 in '24. It's a Senate-only recommendation. Line 168, Youth Services Offices and Grants. The governor recommends $5 million each year ongoing. The committee funds this at $5 million one time. Okay, I'm sorry, I lost my way. Next line is Community Crime Prevention Grants. The governor recommends $5 funding at $5 million each year ongoing. The committee funds this at $5 million each year one time. And we have resources for crime victims. The governor recommends $1 million each year ongoing. The committee recommends $1 million each year one time. Then we have Minnesota Heals, which is community healing and trauma services. The governor recommends $2,800,000 each year ongoing. The committee funds this at $2,800,000 each year one time. Then we have a number of Senate-only provisions, starting with on line 172, youth intervention grants. The Senate funds this at $5 million each year one time. We have state assumption of sexual assault exam costs. Senate funds this at $4 million each year ongoing. We have pathways to policing, or rather the committee funds this at $400,000 each year one time. Crime victim services funding, all of OJP accounts, dispersed across all accounts, $5 million each year ongoing. Racial disparity of youth using shelter grants, $250,000 each year one time. Violence Prevention Project Research Center, $500,000 each year one time. Grants to assist licensed therapists for first responders, $75,000 each year one time. Prosecutor training grants, $100,000 each year one time. Public Safety Innovation Board, we fund the board's operations at $55,000 each year one time. First responders mental health grants, the committee funds this at $500,000 each year one time. And finally, Senate File 2809, intensive peace officers education and training grants. The committee funds this at $5 million. It's a fiscal year 23 appropriation. That's it for Office of Justice Programs. Move on to Emergency Communications networks. This is a division that's funded by the 911E fund, which gets its money from the monthly phone surcharges that we all pay. First decision item is on line 191, maintain current services level from the 911 fund, $441,000 the first year, $709,000 second and subsequent. The committee concurs. Then we have another 911 decision item, next generation 911 funding to locals. The governor recommends $7 million in fiscal year 24 one time, and the committee concurs with the governor's recommendation. And finally, we have a Senate-only general fund provision on line 193, public safety radio system equipment grants. Committee funds this at $9,945,000 in 24 one time. Move on to page 5, Administrative Services Division within the Department of Public Safety. First line is 201. This is the governor's firearm safety package. It's a public relations campaign to promote safe storage of firearms. The governor recommends $250,000 each year ongoing. The committee did not fund the governor's public relations campaign. On line 202, we have line of duty death benefits to include cancer and suicide. The governor recommends $1 million in fiscal year 23 and $1.5 million each year in 24 and 25 and subsequent. The committee concurs with this recommendation. On line 203, we have soft body armor expansion. Governor recommends $1 million each year ongoing. The committee funds this at $1 million each year one time. Then we have body-worn camera grants. The governor recommends $4,500,000 the first year, $1,500,000 second and subsequent. The committee funds this at $4,500,000 the first year and $1,500,000 the second with no tails. And finally, we have First Responder Wellness Office. The governor recommends $1,400,000 each year ongoing. The committee funds this at $600,000 each year ongoing. We have the totals for the Public Safety Department. We move on to the Post Board. First line item is line 221, maintain current services. Governor recommends $54,000 the first year, $105,000 second and subsequent, and the committee concurs. Additional staff for the post board, $592,000 the first year, $593,000 the second, and $576,000 in 26 and 27 for tails, and the committee concurs. Then we have additional office space, $228,000 the first year, $30,000 second and subsequent, and the committee concurs. On line 224, we have the Philando Castile Training Fund. What the governor does in his bills, he lifts the July 1, 2025 sunset on these training funds. The base is $6 million, so you can see in 26 and 27, that $6 million pops back up onto the spreadsheet. What the Senate bill does is it leaves the sunset in place to be revisited in 2 years. However, it should be noted that the training is funded through the end of the 24-25 biennium. On line 225, we have a Senate-only provision, investigators for the post board of Code of Conduct violations. The committee funds this at $435,000 each year, one time. Move to the Private Detective Board, line 232, maintain current services, $10 million the first year, or $10,000 the first year, $20,000 second and subsequent. The committee concurs with the governor's rec. And we have additional equipment and staff, $270,000 the first year, $190,000 second and subsequent. The committee funds this at $178,000 the first year and $103,000 second and subsequent. We move on to the Human Rights Department, line 240, maintain current services. Governor recommends $599,000 the first year, $1,125,000 second and subsequent. The committee concurs. Civil Rights Enforcement Investment, the governor recommends $1,500,000 in 24 and 25 with tails of $2 million each year. The committee concurs with this recommendation. And we have civil rights mediator stipends. The governor recommends $20,000 each year, one time. The committee concurs with this recommendation. Then we have prohibit source of income discrimination. The governor recommends $383,000 the first year, $394,000 second and subsequent. The committee did not fund this line item. On 244, discrimination and hate data reporting, the governor recommended $395,000 the first year, $250,000 second and subsequent. This was also a Senate File 691. The committee went with a higher appropriation in the Senate bill of $538,000 in 24 and $396,000 in 25 and subsequent years. That's it on page 5. Move to page 6 in the Department of Corrections. First division within the department is incarceration and pre-release services. First line item is on line 253, the operations deficiency for fiscal year 23. Governor recommends $12,643,000. Committee concurs. And we have maintained current services. The governor recommendation of $41,131,000 in 24, $67,548,000 in 25, and $68,324,000 in 26, $68,624,000 in 27. The committee concurs with this recommendation. Then we have the prison population increase appropriation. The governor recommends $4,070,000 the first year, $5,977,000 second and subsequent. The committee concurs with the governor's recommendation. We have body-worn cameras. The governor recommends $1 million each year ongoing. The committee did not fund this item. We have Prison Rape Elimination Act. The governor recommends $1 million each year ongoing. The committee did not fund this item. We have armor radio system upgrades. The governor recommended $1,500,000 each year ongoing. The committee funds this at $1,500,000 each year, one time. We have the expansion of the fugitive apprehension unit. The governor recommended $999,000 the first year and $1,865,000 the second, with tails of $1,461,000 in 26 and $1,462,027. The committee did not fund this item. Then we have State Corrections, Safety and Security, $2,055,000 the first year as a governor's rec, $2,772,000 the second, with tails of $3,560,000 each year in 26 and 27. And the committee concurs with the governor's recommendation. Then we have on line 261, Health Services. The governor's bill had an aggregate request number. I've broken it out into 6 activities. The first is 24-hour nursing, $1,072,000 the first year, $2,542,000 second and subsequent. The committee concurs. Behavioral health care, MCF Shakopee, $247,000 each year ongoing. Committee concurs. Dental care, $247,000 each year ongoing. Committee concurs. Disease management unit, $225,000 the first year, $375,000 second and subsequent. Committee concurs. Private nursing home placement study, a one-time appropriation of $75,000 in fiscal year 24. Committee concurs. And finally, telemedicine under health services, $482,000 the first year, $312,000 second, with tails of $227,000 each year in 26 and 27. And the committee concurs with that recommendation. We move on to virtual court coordination and modernization on line 268. The governor recommends $500,000 each year ongoing. The committee concurs. We have education services. Once again, the governor gave an aggregate request. Spreadsheet breaks it down into, I believe, 8 activities. First is education staffing, $2,320,000 the first year, $3,145,000 the second, with tails of $2,901,000 each year in 26 and 27. The committee concurs with this recommendation. We have classroom space, $280,000 each year in 24 and 25, $285,000 in 26 and 27. The committee concurs. IT education components, $918,000 each year in 24 and 25, $779,000 in 26 and 27 for tails. The committee concurs. Expand vocational training, $650,000 in 24 and 25, with tails of $50,000 each year in 26 and 27. The committee concurs. Pell partnerships, $200,000 each year ongoing. The committee concurs. Cognitive processing therapy, $310,000 each year ongoing. The committee concurs. School supplies, $128,000 each year ongoing. The committee concurs. Expand work release, $100,000 in 24, $1 million in fiscal year 24, $2 million in fiscal year 25, with tails of $1 million in 26 and 27. That's the governor's rec. The committee funded this at $2 million each year in 24 and 25, one time. Then we have successful reentry for public safety, a governor's recommendation of $1,241,000 in 24, $3,373,000 second and subsequent. The committee funds this at $1 million each year ongoing. Then we have the evidence-based practice unit. Governor recommends $1,248,000 the first year, $2,164,000 second and subsequent. The committee funds this at $1 million each year ongoing. Then we have family support line items. There are 3 of them. The first is the family support unit. The governor recommends $330,000 the first year, $550,000 second and subsequent. Committee funds this at $446,000 each year ongoing. Then we have inmate phone calls. The governor recommends $2 million each year ongoing for this item. The committee funds it at $2 million each year, one time. And finally, family-focused release services. The governor recommends $510,000 each year ongoing, and the committee did not fund this item. On line 284, we have compensation for program participation, which is essentially inmate wages. The governor recommends $1 million each year ongoing. Committee funds this at $1 million each year, one time. And we have a number of Senate-only provisions. The first is on line 285, the Interstate Compact County Transportation Reimbursement, to $250,000 each year ongoing. Then we have bed costs for Senate File 893, organized theft. The bed costs to the department are $330,000 in '24, $991,000 in '25, $1,274,000 in '26 and '27 and subsequent. Then we have the bed costs for Senate File 2827, converted machine gun kits, $10,000 in '24, $18,000 in '25 and subsequent years. Then we have the bed costs for the fentanyl bill. Fentanyl ranked the same as heroin. It's $10,000 in '24, $29,000 in '25, $49,000 in '26, and $67,000 in '27. On line 289, we have a bed savings for Senate File 1478, felony murder limitation, savings of $140,000 in '24, $277,000 in '25 and subsequent years. On line 290, we have another bill with bed savings, the Juvenile Release Board, bed savings of $15,000 in '24, $242,000 in '25, $383,000 in '26, and $465,000 in '27. Line 291, model discharge plans for jails, Senate-only provision, $80,000 each year, one time. And then the aiding and abetting task force, the committee funds this another year at $25,000 in fiscal year '24. That's it for the DOC institutions. We move on to DOC community supervision and post-release services on page 7. First line item is maintain current services. The governor recommends $2,337,000 the first year, $3,567,000 second, $2,900,000 in '26, and $2,800,000 in '27. The committee concurs with this recommendation. Then, increased funding for community supervision. Lines 302 to 304 list the increase over base for the 3 probation systems, the Community Corrections Act subsidy, the DOC direct supervision, and county probation officer reimbursement counties. The governor recommends $5,790,000 for the DOC contribution each year, $5,370,000 each year for CPO, and $32,054,000 for the CCA subsidy. What the appropriation in the bill does is it combines these base increases into one number, and then it adds them to the bases for the 3 systems, and that comes out to $142 million each year. And then that total in the bill would be run through the new formula created by the bill to fund all 87 counties for community supervision. The next line is line 305, tribal supervision. The governor recommends $2,750,000 each year ongoing. The committee concurs. Community supervision grants. Governor recommends $18,660,000 each year ongoing. The committee funds this at $10 million in '24 and '25, and $8,560,000 in each of '26 and '27. Then we have the Supervision Advisory Committee that's created in Senate File 2380. The committee funds this at $75,000 in fiscal year '24. We have an intervention grants recommendation from the governor on line 308, $1,630,000 in '25, ongoing. The committee did not fund this item. Then on line 309, we have successful reentry for public safety, $266,000 each year ongoing. The committee concurs. Community-based sex offender treatment, $2,415,000 each year ongoing. The committee concurs. Public safety through stable housing, $2,130,000 in '24 and '25, $1,685,000 in '26 and '27. The committee concurs. We have 3 line items under pathways to employment. The first is on line 313, create economic opportunity unit. Governor recommends $488,000 the first year, $1,250,000 second and subsequent, The committee funds this at $488,000 the first year and $625,000 second and subsequent. Then we have increased DOC employee program. The governor recommends $472,000 the first year, $1,300,000 second and subsequent. The committee funds this at $472,000 the first year, $650,000 second and subsequent. And then we have community-based programming on line 315. Governor recommends $1 million each year ongoing. The committee funds this at $500,000 each year ongoing. We have 3 Senate-only provisions then, starting on line 316, Senate File 393, Ramsey County Juvenile Placement Homes. Committee recommends a one-time appropriation of $5 million. Senate File 393, Ramsey County Violence Prevention Wellness Grants. The committee recommends a one-time 24 appropriation of $2,500,000. And finally, the last Senate-only provision, alternatives to incarceration for Mower County, in the inclusion of Mower County. The committee funds this at $80,000 each year ongoing. Move to the last division in the Department of Public Safety, Organizational, Regulatory, and Administrative Services. First line item is maintain current services. Governor recommends $13,714,000 the first year, $17,214,000 the second, $17,114,000 the third, and $16,914,000 in 27. The committee concurs with this recommendation. We have public safety data infrastructure. The governor recommends $17,500,000 each year in 24 and 25, and $10 million each year in 26 and 27. The committee funded this, front-loaded it in 24 at $22,500,000. $22,500,000 each year in 24 and 25 with no tails. Then we have recruitment and retention. The governor recommends $4,803,000 the first year, $7,323,000 the second, with tails of $4,173,000 each year in 26 and 27. The committee concurs with this recommendation. Accountability and transparency, $1,529,000 in each of 24 and 25, $2,039,000 in 26 and 27. The committee funds this item at $1,200,000 each year ongoing. Then we have the Indeterminate Sentencing Release Board. The governor recommends funding the board at $40,000 each year ongoing. The Senate, or the committee, concurs with that recommendation. Then we have State Corrections, Safety, and Security. The governor recommends $190,000 each year ongoing for this item. The committee concurs with the governor's recommendation. And then on line 331, we have both the Senate file and a governor's recommendation for the Clemency Review Commission, $986,000 each year ongoing, with which the Senate, or the committee, concurs. That's it for the Department of Corrections. Quickly, we have the Ombud for Corrections, 2 line items, 341, maintain current services, $225,000 the first year, $199,000 second and subsequent. The committee concurs. And 2 additional staff members, $217,000 the first year, $237,000 second and subsequent, with which the committee concurs. Then on the bottom of this page, we have the base appropriation for the State Competency Restoration Board, which was created last session. On to the last page. There are some general fund transfers and revenue adjustments I need to point out to you. The first is on line 352. General fund transfer. This is for the Community Justice Reinvestment Account. This was created in 2015. It's $461,000 each year. Then we have on lines 353 to 355, we have Senate File 524. What Senate File 524 does is it creates 3 special revenue accounts, then makes in each of them a $14 million one-time appropriation in fiscal year 24, or transfer. It transfers $14 million into the account, and then it appropriates $2.8 million each year for 5 years for each of the 3 activities. Yeah, that's what it does. We move on to revenue adjustments on line 368, Senate File 199, eliminate fees for uncertified court documents. That has a general fund cost of $265,000 in '24 and $284,000 second and subsequent. Then we have adjustments, other funds, non-general funds. We have the increase in the fire premium surcharge from 0.5 to 0.65. It's 15 basis points. That brings in $5,100,000 each year. And I said I was going to talk about this earlier. That is what funds the special revenue increases under the fire marshal and the firefighter training and education board. Then once again, we have Senate File 524. The earlier lines recognize the transfer. These 3 lines, 380 to 382, recognize the appropriation from the special revenue fund for those activities. Line 383 and 384 are the Oak Park Heights Mental Health Unit pilot project. It's a fee-for-service project, $519,000 the first year, $215,000 the second year with no tails. This simply recognizes the incoming fees, which are then appropriated to run the program. And finally, the last line is the Minnesota Rehab and Reinvestment Act, which is a fairly large deal. It doesn't have a fiscal impact on the spreadsheet, but the department will eventually realize savings from lowering the time served requirement from 67% to 50% for most inmates. That savings is reallocated statutorily. It won't happen this biennium. In fact, they don't score any savings in this budget window. But when it does happen, the breakout will be as follows. 25% of the savings will go to the Office of Justice Programs, Crime Victim Services. 25% will go to the new CCA formula. 25% will go to community-based grants distributed by the Department of Corrections, and 25% will go to the general fund. And that, Mr. Chairman, is Senator Latz's judiciary funding bill.
Thank you. Mr. Turner, are we going to go through the appropriations bill now, or?
Mr. Chairman, Article 1 is basically the spreadsheet in narrative form. There really aren't any complicated riders in it, and for me to go through Article 1 would more or less be for me to do what I just finished, which you probably don't want me to do. But I will point out a couple things, and they're all at the end of Article 1. If people are looking for the fiscal year 23, there's 23 deficiency appropriations. They are all at the end of the article. They are not stashed with the agencies. For example, DOC deficiency is at the end. It's not within DOC. And then the other thing I'd like to point out is starting on section 21, I feel like we ended with Senate File 524. It's kind of confusing explanation. Oh, I'm sorry, page 34 in Article 1, or page 34 of the bill. Section 21 and 22 relate to the violent crime investigation teams from Senate File 524. 21 creates the special revenue account that I explained. Section 22 transfers the money from the general fund into the special revenue account, and then it's appropriated, like I said, at $2,800,000 each year for 5 years, and that goes beyond our budget window. So it's appropriated for 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28. The same is true for sections 23 and 24, which create the Community Crime and Violence Prevention account, which is different from the Violent Crime Investigation account, okay? And then we have the creation of the account, the transfer into the account in 24, and then 25 and 26 are the same thing for the crisis response and criminal investigation grants. 25 creates the account, explains the appropriation, and 26 makes the general fund transfer into the account. And unless there are any questions, I think I'll turn it over to Ken Backus for the remainder of the bill.
Senator Pappas.
Mr. Chairman, since I'm on the committee, I should know the answer to this, but I don't. So you show on page 6 a bed savings from the Juvenile Release Board, but you don't show a bed savings from the Intermediate Sentence Release Board. Is there any reason why there wouldn't be bed savings from both?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Pappas, there will be a bed savings from that bill, which is your bill, I believe. I don't want to speak out of school here, but I think when I spoke to the Commissioner of Corrections, he said that it's difficult to predict or estimate who they are actually going to release. There was a fiscal note for the Juvenile Release Board. The Indeterminate Sentencing Release Board was a governor's recommendation, so I did not ask for a fiscal note on that, but I did talk to the commissioner about it, and he said that he didn't feel comfortable making estimates. Now, that was a month ago, so he might want to speak to that when he comes here, but that's why, Senator Pappas, if that's...
Mr. Backus, to that point, did you want to comment?
Mr. Chair and Senator Pappas, I think I could add something to that, too. The Indeterminate Release Board, they were two separate provisions that essentially got merged. I believe the savings related to the Juvenile Release Board is the fact that juveniles will be eligible for release, well, not juveniles, but former juvenile offenders will be eligible for release earlier than under current law. Where the Indeterminate Sentencing Board, the original concept, it didn't make anyone eligible for release early. It just changed who was making the decision. So I do think the savings for the juveniles reflects the fact that some former juvenile offenders may get out of prison earlier than they can under current law.
Okay, thank you.
Please proceed, Mr. Backus.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members. So I'll be walking through the remainder of the bill. This includes Articles 2 through 12, which is approximately 175 pages of assorted statutory and other non-rider changes. Based on the chair's guidance, I will be doing a big picture overview that focuses only on the more significant provisions, so I will not be including everything. I'll point out that there's a detailed summary in your packets if you're interested in everything, and of course I'll be happy to attempt to answer any questions either along the way at the end. That said, I'll start with Article 2, which is the Judiciary article. That begins on page 36 of the bill. That article only has 3 sections in it, and nothing particularly significant that I would need to point out now, I don't think. Article 3 is the public safety article. That begins on page 40. There are a number of provisions there that I would point out. In no particular order, there's a provision that increases criminal penalties and creates a new crime for organized retail theft. That's section 37 of the article. It expands, this is the article, expands the 3rd and 4th degree burglary crimes to include certain thefts involving retailers. That's sections 40 and 41 of the article. The article also makes a few other changes relating to law enforcement access to information and the time for which certain search warrants are valid relating to retail thefts and other financial crimes. That's sections 2, 3, 38, 39, and 50. The article amends the controlled substance crimes to more specifically target fentanyl, including in many situations treating it the same as heroin. Those are sections 6 to 11. The article requires training for peace officers in the use of opiate antagonists and for peace officers to be supplied with and carry opioid antagonists. That's that's section 53. The article establishes a state fraud unit within the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension to conduct investigations into fraud involving state-funded programs or services. That's in section 26 of the article. The article establishes the Office for Missing and Murdered Black Women and Girls in section 24 and establishes a reward fund for investigation tips relating to investigations of missing and murdered Indigenous relatives in section 23. The article makes the state, rather than counties, financially responsible for the cost of sexual assault examinations and imposes a time limit for forensic laboratories to get these kits tested. Those are sections 4, 5, 27, and 35. The article expands survivor benefits for the families of public safety officers who die by suicide caused by work-related PTSD or from certain types of cancer. Those are sections 15 through 17 and 59. The article also expands the soft body armor reimbursement law to include firefighters and qualified EMS providers. That's in sections 14, 61, and 62. The article increases the surcharge on homeowners insurance from 0.5% to 0.65% in section 13. The article requires the post board to adopt rules that permit the board to take disciplinary action against peace officers who violate standards of conduct, regardless of whether the officer was charged with a crime. That's section 52. The article also imposes requirements on law enforcement agencies that use portable recording systems, i.e. body cameras, in sections 1 and 56. The article establishes the Public Safety Innovation Board in section 20. It expands the scope of existing crimes committed because of bias and reporting on bias-related crimes, and also law enforcement training on bias offenses. These are in sections 32 to 34, 42 to 44, 51, 54, and 55. The article repeals the sunset for the BCA's use of force investigation unit in section 63. And then finally in this article establishes the intensive comprehensive peace officer education and training program to address the critical shortage of peace officers in the state, specifically those that are college graduates, and that's in section 57. Continuing then, Article 4 is entitled Corrections, and it begins on page 95 of the bill. There are two things I'll point out here. It limits the accomplice liability crime in the criminal code so that a person who participates in a crime where another perpetrator causes someone's death will not be liable as an accomplice for the death unless certain factors are present. It also provides a process for persons currently incarcerated for this to bring a petition in court for relief. Those are sections 4 and 7. The article also provides a process for county sheriffs to be reimbursed for travel expenses in certain situations where they are transporting a person back to Minnesota under the Interstate Compact for Adult Supervision. That's section 3. Article 5 is entitled Clemency Changes. It begins on page 106. It modifies the process for the issuance of pardons and for sentence commutations. The article would no longer require a unanimous vote of the Board of Pardons to grant pardons or sentence commutations, and it establishes a 9-member clemency review commission to assist the Board of Pardons, mostly by reviewing clemency applications and making non-binding recommendations to the board. Article 6 is entitled 911 Emergency Communication System. It begins on page 120. It amends Minnesota Statutes Chapter 403, which is the 911 Emergency and Public Safety Communications chapter of law. It updates language to reflect technology changes and to align the chapter's language with the recent FCC amendment to the Code of Federal Regulations and to clarify certain other aspects of the law. Article 7 is entitled Minnesota Rehabilitation and Reinvestment Provisions. It begins on page 146. This article provides a process to allow certain individuals to be released from prison early based on participation in certain rehabilitative programming or to have their active supervised release term shortened based on compliance with the conditions and goals of the person's supervised release plan. As Mr. Turner mentioned, it also requires that savings that are realized be reallocated according to this specified formula that he mentioned. Article 8, which begins on page 156, accomplishes two main things. It first provides that a person who commits a crime before reaching the age of 18, for which a prison sentence of 15 years or more applies, and that could be any type of sentence or any type of crime, including life sentences and 15-year periods that are realized by consecutive sentences. These individuals will be eligible for supervised release consideration after serving 15 years in prison. And that's the provision I talked about with Senator Pappas in terms of potential savings, I believe. The article also establishes a 7-member supervised release board. This is the concept that was essentially combined, where you had an indeterminate sentence release board, and then you had a juvenile release board. In committee, that was condensed into one. So it would be a 7-member board. It would make release determinations for inmates serving life sentences with the possibility of release, regardless of their age when they committed the crime. It would also include release decisions for those serving under the old parole system and who might be eligible for release, and then also those former juvenile offenders that I just described. Under current statute, release decisions for inmates who are eligible for discretionary release are solely the decision of the Commissioner of Corrections, so this changes that. The article also allows the new board to grant final discharge of sentence to a person on supervised release or parole. Continuing then, Articles 9 to 11 address expungement, which is the sealing of records relating to arrests, prosecutions, and convictions. Article 9, which begins on page 166, provides for automatic expungement of criminal records in certain instances. These expungements would be BCA initiated and would not require the person affected to bring a petition in court. And there are 4 groupings or universes of persons eligible for this. Article 10, which begins on page 172, amends current law regarding expungement by petition of the affected party. It reduces certain waiting periods under current law to file a petition. It expands the list of felony convictions that are eligible for expungement, and it provides that certain persons sentenced to a misdemeanor or a gross misdemeanor sentence are eligible for expungement relief, even if the conviction was for a more serious offense. Article 11, which begins on page 176, makes a series of clarifying and conforming changes and other related changes to effectuate the expungement-related provisions in Articles 9 and 10. The final article is Article 12. It begins on page 185. It's entitled Community Supervision. It establishes a Community Supervision Advisory Committee to develop standards for probation, supervised release, and community supervision. It replaces the Community Corrections Act funding formula with a new statewide funding formula. It authorizes tribal governments to receive supervision funding under the new formula. It codifies certain release violation standards, and then finally makes technical changes and deletes obsolete language. Mr. Chair, that is the end of my walkthrough.
Thank you very much. Do you have anything else? Otherwise, Senator Latz, I wondered if we should invite the commissioners up, see if any of them wish to speak to the bill.
Mr. Chairman, we have a couple of small amendments, including amendment to make sure the bill is properly distributed between the two buckets.
First? I think you have the A28 amendment, Senator Pappas, do you?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would move the A28 amendment and turn it over to Mr. Turner to explain, or Mr. Backus.
The A28 is being distributed right now. Senator Latz or Mr. Backus?
Mr. Chair, members, yeah, this amendment amends the provision on the felony murder accomplice changes. It does two things. First, it gives individuals essentially an extra year by which to seek relief. So under current law, they have to, I don't have it in front of me, I think it's October 1, 24. This would give them till October 1, 25 to bring the initial petition for relief. And then it gives a kind of a deadline, so to speak, for the district court reviewing a preliminary application to make a decision.
Senator Draheim.
Thank you. I'm not on this committee, thankfully, but I was just curious, why is just Ramsey County spelled out on this? Senator Latz.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Draheim, there's a process set up for an initial screening of these petitions, which will be done through the Ramsey County Court. And if the judge there determines they meet the threshold criteria for consideration, then the matter will be referred back to the county where the sentencing occurred for a final determination.
Senator Pratt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Latz, on the amendment for 90 days, we keep hearing about backlogs in the court system. And I'm just curious, as we go from something that's fairly open-ended but allows the court to work through their process versus a 90-day restriction, what would happen if there was a backlog and a judge couldn't make that decision within 90 days? And like Senator Draheim, I don't serve on your committee, so maybe I'm reading this wrong. Help me clarify what I'm looking at.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Pratt, the idea was to kind of heighten the urgency of these determinations since they are individuals who are presently incarcerated and are seeking relief because of the issues relating to accomplice liability in the felony murder law. So there's a heightened urgency because of their incarceration. Under existing case law, we can put in deadlines like this in statute, but the general principle, and it obviously hasn't been a court decision on this particular one, but generally they're directory and not mandatory. So there isn't any consequence spelled out in statute or in law if the 90-day deadline is not met. But what does do is give the judges a target date for trying to aim to get it done by then. Everyone's expecting it to be done by then, and that's the hope for it. There are similar provisions in other statutes and state law that set deadlines for making decisions or setting hearings and stuff like that. And the courts have interpreted those as directory and not mandatory with no specific consequence.
Thank you.
Further discussion on the Pappas A28 amendment? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion prevails. Senator Pappas, there's also an A32 amendment.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move the A32 amendment and again send it over to Mr. Turner to explain.
Mr. Turner.
Mr. Chairman, members.
Mike?
There was an amendment that went on in...
Mr. Turner, your microphone will go. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, there was an amendment that went on in the Judiciary Committee that unbalanced the internal targets in the bill. What this amendment does is it rebalances the bill. It also funds one provision in an outlying bill that the funding bill, this bill, was supposed to carry. It was an oversight by myself. And it also makes technical and stylistic changes to the appropriations language in the bill.
Discussion on the A32 amendment. If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion prevails. I would also love to have the A33 amendment, which I believe is in packets as well. This is one that I've discussed with Senator Latz, and we put it on the housing bill yesterday. I know you already have some things on grants, making sure that grants are overseen properly and so on, and I think this is just safeguards to do that. And Senator Latz, you've seen it. Do you have any comments or concerns about it? Or
Mr. Chairman and committee, I'm grateful to see this amendment. These are issues that I raised in years past with regard to grants, and particularly some substantial grants proposed by the other body, which have funding in this bill relating to crime prevention and investigation. We also have our more standard Office of Justice Programs grants, which are a substantial portion of our bill also. There has been concern over the years about whether there are sufficient guardrails around those grant processes, and I support this and would treat it as a friendly amendment.
And Senator Murphy has taken some of the recommendations, the OLA report, and has some of that in statute proposed in her state government bill. But with that, Senator Champion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Latz, in your bill, thank you for the bill, first of all. Do you have any money or any contractual opportunities for-profit entities?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Champion, I don't know that the profit status of the grant recipients is restricted specifically in the bill. I guess I'd want to defer to counsel. There might be some places where that's the case, but I'm less concerned about the nonprofit or for-profit status of the organization and more concerned about whether they can deliver the programmatic outcomes that we're seeking. But there may be some provisions in our bill that are restricted, but I'd have to look through it more carefully to determine if there are any.
And Mr. Chair?
Go ahead, Senator Champion.
And Senator Latz, the reason why I'm raising that is because when individuals start talking through a frame of nonprofits, and if we're talking about being fiscally responsible, then I think it should be us being fiscally responsible, right? Whether it's for-profit or nonprofit. Haven't we seen instances where for-profits haven't necessarily done what they're supposed to do? So it says financial review of nonprofit grants. And I just think that coming from that frame, it causes me a little pause, even if Senator Murphy and others have looked at this and have talked about it. I think that we are setting up a real interesting dynamic from the majority perspective and from this committee's perspective. I am all for oversight. I have no problem with that. But if we start identifying only a certain type of organization, that becomes a problem. And I might say that I think something should be done to reflect the fact that we are being fiscally responsible and not necessarily throwing pot shots at certain nonprofits.
Senator Champion, I'll speak to that briefly because when you talked with me about it yesterday, I did touch base with Senate counsel who had helped in preparing this, Ms. James, and she talked about some of the complexities of doing that. We both agree. I strongly share your thing. I don't want anybody to be defrauding, anybody to be misusing the public funds. And so I asked about that, and she said it's a little more complex in terms of doing it. But I would love to speak with you further about that because I certainly share your concern. This is not to say, oh, some people we don't have to worry if they're giving grants to a for-profit company that they're not going to do something. I mean, I'd say that would be backwards because I think we've all seen plenty of for-profit businesses that have taken advantage of things. So I strongly concur with you on that. I just, in talking about this with Senate counsel, kind of concluded it was a little more complex to try and deal with, and I think the vast majority of the grants that we're dealing with here, maybe all of them are going to nonprofit organizations. I assume all the Office of Justice programs are, and
Mr. Chair?
go ahead, Senator Champion.
Thank you. Mr. Chair. And, Mr. Chair, I'm not questioning whether you have that commitment, but it doesn't seem like we are articulating that with clarity, because the only one that you have an amendment for says nonprofits. And even though it may be a little more complex and a little more challenging, but that's why we have Senate Council. That's why we're supposed to work through these issues. We're not supposed to use that as an excuse as to why we are not being thoughtful. And so if we share that, which I do think all entities should be reviewed, I have no problem with that, but I do have a problem with us overcorrecting and only looking at one entity. And so with that being said, I just want to put on the record that I find this unfortunate and challenging for the reasons that I've articulated, not because I don't think there should be oversight.
And Senator Champion, I acknowledge and believe, share your concern on that, and I will, maybe we could have a meeting later today or so to discuss how to try and incorporate to make sure that nobody is getting away with something here. This is meant to try and make sure that the grants that are going out are, again, a lot of grants we give out as a state are to government agencies and so on, which have the legislative auditor, the state auditor looking at them. We have the nonprofit grants, which most of these are, but I'm sure there are some that are for-profit as well. We should be watching that. So I will talk with you later today. I'd like to bring together Senate Council and figure out how to address the concern.
And, Mr. Chair, just one last follow-up, just so that we're clear on the record, again, because sometimes when people hear us defend or say something, then people extrapolate or assume that's because we're trying to hide something. No. And in fact, when we started the equity provisions in 2016, the only people who had to come up with 990s were the people on the equity side of the ledger. And one of the things that we did for the job bill that will come up later is that we did have every entity present a 990 so that we can see exactly what's going on, because we wanted to be ahead of it. And we also had an extensive discussion with Deed, who will testify here later today, about all the things that they have done and they will continue to do in order to make sure that taxpayers' dollars are used wisely and appropriately. My concern is when we want to say, oh, if you're a nonprofit, we want to make sure, oh, but when you're a for-profit, we're okay with the possibility that you might misuse dollars. And so I just think that we need to be fair and balanced and thoughtful, and I'll be happy to accept your suggestion that we get with Senate Council. I wish we would have done it before. We now started having omnibus bills come through, and we have this problem before us, because it is the message that we send to others that is a problem that I find unfortunate. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for your patience.
And thank you, Senator Champion. Again, I'll take the blame for that because I had not heard of the concern that there were some nonprofits, non-nonprofit, for-profit companies that might be getting it. And so my apologies for that, but I will commit to try and meet with you later today with Senate Council to talk through how we address what you're getting at. With that, Senator Murphy, would you still be willing to offer move the A33 amendment?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and members, I will offer the A33 amendment, recognizing Senator Champion's raised concerns, and I think they're important. And so I would like to offer this amendment, knowing that we have continued work to do.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the amendment? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion prevails. That will take, let's not forget that later today. I will contact you, Senator Champion. Are you ready, Senator Latz, if we have commissioners, if they wish to speak to the bill, to come up briefly?
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman.
Perhaps we can start with Commissioner Schnell. Commissioners, you don't have to speak to the bills, but we appreciate your being here and welcome the opportunity to hear from you on anything related to the bill. Thank you, Commissioner. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. It's an honor to be here with you today to stand in full support of the bill, and it is with gratitude to Chair Latz and all of the members of the Judiciary and Public Safety Committee for the work that was put into establishing this comprehensive budget bill. I would just highlight a few items I think that are important. It was described, but this Minnesota Rehabilitation and Reinvestment Act, I think, is an incredible opportunity for Minnesota to both improve public safety in our state by making sure that we're targeting our interventions with people in the system in the most appropriate way possible, and doing that through an incentive-based model that actually can reduce cost at the same time. We think that this is important. This bill also establishes, for the first time, this clemency review process, which engages a broader group of people to review clemency and pardon applications on behalf of the members of the 3 members of the Pardon Board, the Governor, Chief Justice, and Attorney General. It also funds, critically funds the state's correctional supervision delivery system, which for now over 40 years has had a mixed formula for its funding, and the state has fallen horribly short in terms of its obligation to provide funding to counties across our state to adequately provide those services. The bill also includes a really important piece for us is updating our public safety data infrastructure, our central record system in the Department of Corrections that is now more than 30 years old, and replacement is critically needed. We've invested dollars, millions over the course of time trying to keep the thing operational and fully functioning. And it is time that we make a huge investment to transform that technology infrastructure. One of the other things that this bill does is it helps the Department of Corrections to fulfill its obligation to the courts. And that is, since COVID, many court hearings across our state, by order of the Supreme Court, are being done virtually. This means that in the past, sheriffs or courts would issue a writ to release people from our prisons, and they would transport them across the state to attend court hearings in any county in our state. Today, many of those hearings are being heard remotely in the prison, but this ultimately required for us the creation of effectively a bailiff unit and a court unit to be able to manage these court hearings for all 87 counties, and including the U.S. district courts, who oftentimes do this. I just wanted to address the question raised by Senator Pappas related to bed savings and the differences in the indeterminate sentence release board and the juvenilely focused one. And the key difference is that today, all of on the adult side, the indeterminate sentence review board essentially establishes a parole board that today, the only difference is the commissioner is responsible for making those decisions about parole for people who serve that mandatory minimum sentence, in most cases 30 years. So the bed savings is not really trackable because that is a process, a review process, whereas on those who were convicted as juveniles, the opportunity to be reviewed earlier is built into the bill, and that's where substantial and significant bed savings are realized. And finally, I think this bill fully funds the DOC's requests related to safety and security and operations of our prisons. We have been challenged. We have, over the course of time with workforce, we know that that's critical. And I would also add that this bill addresses and provides funding to create new pathways for people who are in the criminal justice system to help meet Minnesota's workforce needs and help our state's economic vitality. There are a couple items that we would hope to be able to work on with the chair and conferees, and that's really looking at body-worn cameras to improve the safety of our corrections officers and intensive supervised release agencies. funding to make sure that we're addressing Prison Rape Elimination Act requirements, and expanding of our fugitive apprehension unit. At a time when we have a backlog of outstanding warrants for people, we want to make sure that we're bringing those people back into custody to reduce that risk of reoffending for those people who are non-compliant with the conditions of their release. With that, Mr. Chair, members, I just, again, express my gratitude to all of you, to Senator Latz and all of the members of the Judiciary and Public Safety Committee, and we look forward to working with all of you in the last 6 weeks here or so as this works its way through the conference committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Questions for the Commissioner? I have one or two, one of which is the supervision provisions, the $85, $90 million for that. Under that, you mentioned how we've had the 40 years of the 3 systems and so on. With this change, are you going to say that it's fairly distributed now to the counties and so on, and that we're stepping up to the level that the task force recommended last year?
Mr. Chair, members, there's been a lot of work here. This is an area of significant need. The funding that has been identified by the Judiciary and Public Safety Committee does really bring that up. There's some fine tuning. We're working with all of the counties, AMC, on a funding formula. That has been the key thing. The challenge has been 3 delivery systems for probation and 3 different formulas. And it is time to fix that. How we back into that will be, there's some final work being done, but we're confident that we want to come out of this with that single funding formula.
Good. So in other words, this may need fine tuning yet, but we're getting there.
We are getting there, Mr. Chair, and we're really grateful for the work of the committee in helping us get to this point.
And then the bill has a couple million for inmate calls so they can keep connected with their family. I know the value of that. In DOC facilities, will this eliminate those call charges then they have so they can not go into debt if they call their kids?
Mr. Chair, members, this has been an area of considerable focus, not just in Minnesota, but really across our nation. In fact, there was a federal bill that was passed and requires the FCC to establish some policies around charging for phone calls for people who are in incarceration status. Oftentimes that was focused on the high rates that people have in terms of trying to maintain contact with their families, which from an evidence-based practice standpoint, we know when that occurs, risk of recidivism goes down. And so we believe that this investment is a way of helping those who are incarcerated maintain strong connections with their families and really not create burdens. In some cases, families are spending upwards of $100 to $200 a month just to maintain this contact. And that has implications, not just for the incarcerated person, it has implications for those families in the community.
Thank you. Other questions from Senator Champion?
Commissioner, I was giving you an opportunity to talk to the wise one that's sitting next to you, Senator Latz, so I wanted to wait so I could ask a question on the topic that you're talking about, Commissioner, phone calls. What's driving the cost for phone calls? Because to me, it just seems like, hey, you have a phone line, people use the phone line. I don't understand why that phone line costs much more than any other phone line. Mm-hmm. But I'm not in your strategic and knowledgeable position, so I thought this would be a great time for me to get insight as to why your phone calls cost so much more than anyone else's phone calls.
Commissioner.
Mr. Chair, Senator Champion, it is a great question. First of all, the phone system is a system that we contract for. As people may know, that all phone calls are recorded between people, and there are restrictions that we oftentimes have to place on people. We do not want people who are incarcerated and may have to be reaching out to harass or contact victims. Those are things that we set prohibitions, and we have to have phone systems that are able to set restrictions on terms of what and who people can contact and communicate with. And so it's the infrastructure behind this. Now, there is no doubt that, we are looking for the ways to make this as low cost as no cost as possible, but just creating phone lines and letting people have access to the phones can't be done because we do have to manage the safety considerations relative to victim contact and so forth.
Mr. Chair?
Champion.
Thank you for that answer. I naturally assume that there has to be something, and there has to be a cheaper option by which to do this, because even though you have articulated with clarity the pro-social importance of those incarcerated, having contacts with their families, all the empirical data says that if you have visits and contacts, it lowers recidivism once you are no longer there. But it seems like we're doing the opposite, which is people who may not have the revenue now can't be in contact with family members or others because of the high cost of telephone calls, or there's an enormous burden that's even placed on poor families or any families, because guess what? It's a high cost, but it's an enormous financial burden that you now have to send money up to say, hey, this is going to be a card for your phone calls. I just hope and wish that there could be something done as far as that concerned, because that seems to be in direct conflict with what we're trying to achieve, even though we are trying to achieve making sure, people are not doing things that they are not supposed to do. So I recognize that importance as well. But there has to be something, and I don't know if we have any more, organizations or entities that could give us a different bid, because it just seems to me that it just seems to be a pretty enormous cost. And now we're going to underwrite it, which I understand, right? But it won't go far enough and long enough, and we don't ever really deal with the underlying issue if we're just given the revenue. So thank you for your answer, and thank you for always just being kind enough to listen.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions? Thank you very much. Commissioner, Senator Latz, go ahead before we have Commissioner Jacobson.
Mr. Chairman, to amplify Commissioner Schnell's response to your question about community corrections, it's not just a new formula, but there's $85 million or so each biennium that's new money in this bill that's going to be distributed out to the counties, if I've got this correct. So one of the complaints, the loudest complaints we've heard from the counties over the years is the state has shoved a whole ton of local costs onto them, which the state has said the state was going to bear, and which are properly state-borne costs because they're committed to the Department of Corrections, the folks that they're overseeing in the communities. So the counties will be getting a lot more money out of this too, which is appropriate. We're finally, yes, the state is finally stepping up to most, if not all, of its obligations that it committed to 40 years ago.
And Senator Latz, on that point, to the governor's task force last year, that we had testimony from a lot of county probation officers and county commissioners and others saying how with a little bit more funding they could really increase and improve the supervision, and they argue significantly improve public safety as a result. So I think that's the good news about this thing. So I appreciate your finding a way to fund the whole system in a fair way. Thank you, Commissioner. Senator Champion, go ahead.
Just one more question for the Commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Chair. For your challenge incarceration program, have you done anything different, or is there anything in the bill that says that if a person is still a part of the challenge incarceration program, if they're out in the community and let's say they're not adhering to the program rules and then they go back, it's my understanding that they don't get credit for that time. It's as if that time is told. And so I just want to know if you if in this bill or if there's been any other consideration to how we might address that issue, because it's my understanding when they're in the community that they're still under your auspices.
Mr. Chair, Senator Champion, we do have some policy provisions to address those issues to make and allow for people to be able to reaccess CIP when when those situations do arise.
Thank you again, Commissioner. Commissioner Jacobson. Welcome to the committee.
Chair Marty, members of the committee, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here in front of you today. I just want to mention, number one, it's been an honor to serve as the Commissioner of Public Safety. As you probably know, I was sworn in on January 2nd. This is in my first 3.5 months as the Commissioner of Public Safety. And again, it's been truly an honor to be able to serve and to be a part of the Governor Walz's and Lieutenant Flanagan's administration. Come from a background in law enforcement and also the Department of Human Services with an eye towards child welfare and work. So on both ends of the spectrum, as I come in, that experience, I hope will be able to serve me well as the Commissioner of the Department of Public Safety, and again, honor. I just also want to mention my thanks to Senator Latz and his committee for working with us on this budget and this budget bill. We are very appreciative of the work that's been put in by that committee. As a new commissioner, I've been enlightened as the amount of work that goes into a legislative session, and by the chairs and the members, and by our staff. And again, I want to recognize all of them and my thanks for what they've been able to provide. We have supplied a letter for you that I think goes into detailed recognition of some of the more important pieces of this budget bill. And I would ask that you all, when you have an opportunity to read through that, I think that better speaks to some of the issues, perhaps, than for me to be able to articulate those in front of you today. I will say that I think that this budget bill really does focus. Again, my approach has been a holistic approach to public safety. I really do think that this budget bill invests in prevention, intervention, and enforcement in a good, balanced approach. And I think that this budget bill is good for Department of Public Safety, and I think in the end for the residents of the state of Minnesota. And with that, I will yield back to the chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Questions for the Commissioner? If not, thank you very much. Thanks for being here. With that, is there discussion from any other comments you went before? Senator Champion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A couple questions for Senator Latz. First of all, thank you for the bill and always just doing great work. I always just sincerely appreciate what you do. So I have a couple questions. One is about the change around Minnesota Statute Section 152.022, which is the fentanyl notion. I see that you all have added that. Can you give me a little context as to why that change and what's the significance of that change? And then my third, and then my other question is around penalties. It's my understanding that there's this kind of enhanceable notion. Does the first offense still, is it still a gross misdemeanor and then ramp up? I just want to kind of understand how these changes work.
Senator Latz.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Champion, I'll give you sort of a high level, and then I'll ask Mr. Backus to go into the detail on it. But this was essentially Senator Rosen's bill last year, which sought to increase the penalties for fentanyl to match the penalties for heroin in current statute. And fentanyl is at least as devastating to our communities, and it has spread rapidly. And it's being used not only on its own, but it's showing up lacing other products. Someone on the street who buys some marijuana may unknowingly be getting fentanyl in their marijuana, and same with other drugs that they buy on the street. And the dosing for fentanyl is so small to have such a large impact that even a small amount, more than the safe amount, if there is a safe amount, well, there is a safe amount. It's a medical product as well. It's used in our medical system. You go a little bit over that, and it's deadly. So it's at least as dangerous as heroin. It has not been treated as dangerous as heroin in our statutes for criminal penalties. So this matches it, and in most of the instances tries to come up with essentially the equivalent dosing or quantities for the heroin penalties as well. There is one or two provisions where they've come up with a slightly different quantity component. And, but other than that, I don't think there's any major change in there in comparison to the heroin penalties, but I'll defer to Mr. Backus for any more detail on that.
Mr. Chair and Senator Champion, yeah. The first and second degree controlled substance crime, both sales and possession, that's where fentanyl is made essentially the equivalent of heroin. And then they also include dosage thresholds, which don't appear in current law. For third degree possession, the two don't match up because I think there was an intent to not try to target people who have low-level possession offenses. So I think it's fair to say there was a compromise there, that third-degree possession, it's not treated the same as heroin. And in terms of, I think you said repeat offenses or not, that's really not addressed in this. So, and generally, for the most part, in the controlled substance crimes, it's not that much featured. So that's probably not really a part of this.
Mr. Chair, follow-up? And so how was fentanyl being treated in our statutes before? So now if we're saying it's more severe because it's more aligned with heroin, can you tell me how it was being treated before? And then my second question is, how does cocaine, like pure cocaine, line up with the same level of severity? Because there's obviously a difference in who uses pure cocaine and those who may potentially use heroin or fentanyl.
Mr. Chair and Senator Champion, yeah, the controlled substance crimes are often pretty complicated. Over the years, the legislature has singled out certain types of controlled substance, like heroin, like cocaine. In other times, it's just treated, say, as a a Schedule I or Schedule II controlled substance. In current law, fentanyl is essentially, if I remember correctly, just treated the same as what would be another Schedule I substance. So, you know, basically, that's how it's currently treated. So now fentanyl is specifically put in there to match heroin. I don't know if that's enough detail. I can certainly meet with you offline to give you more specifics. It's fairly complicated like that.
Mr. Chair, one last follow-up, at least on this question. Was there any discussion in the committee about those who, or the demographic of people who use heroin and fentanyl versus the other types of drugs? So was there any discussion about that? Because it seems to be, you know, even though the legislature has done it, it seems to carve out certain drugs, dangerous. I don't even smoke, so I get it, right? But it seems to be a concern about who is the demographic who normally uses fentanyl and heroin.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Champion, I don't recall any specific conversations about the demographics of the users. The concern was more about the distinguishing between those who are selling and distributing and those who are addicts.
So I think, if I might, Mr. Chair, but I think what I read is that you still have something around possession. So if you possess, so not necessarily being a distributor, you could still be an addict and possess. And now we're aligning, it appears, and I can be corrected, but it appears that we're now aligning even a person who possesses it and and we'll deal with them much more harshly, right? And then that's why I was going backwards to who's the demographic that usually uses these type of illicit street drugs. Because then that gets to another question around disparities and what can appear neutral on its face that would have desperate impact on the community. So I just wanted to know if there was any discussion about that.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Champion, the third-degree possession crime here is treated differently, specifically with a lower penalty, specifically to distinguish between those who are addicted and those who are not. I'm not aware of any specific data relating to demographics and differences in use among different categories in the demographics. with fentanyl. Fentanyl is on the street, it's usually used to spike something else, is my understanding. So I'd certainly be interested in learning if there are any disparate demographic impacts here. But I think the idea here was really to distinguish between addicts and those who are selling it.
So, Mr. Chair, lastly, what I'll say, I'll be happy to talk to you about it, but I wished, and I'm disappointed to hear that there wasn't any discussion about it, because I think we do have to think about what sort of impact and what are the things that we can do in order to deal with the crisis, but also make sure that we're not dealing with one community in a much more harsh way than others, because there is a demographic. Because I know even growing up, even though I'm too young, but I heard about heroin and where those heroin addicts were and in what buildings that they were in and what streets that they were lying on. Same thing is being true when we think in terms of fentanyl. But then there was this disparities that was done, you know, and just Pam Alexander talked about crack versus cocaine. And even though most people said we were just dealing with the drug itself, but not the impact and how one was much more utilized by one demographic versus another. So I just hope that you all would, you know, sincerely think about that, because I think that this is a glaring challenge. And I know it's a balancing act, so I don't take that away from you. I just feel that it would have been helpful for us to sort of think about this a little differently, because there are going to be communities who are going to be dealt with much more harshly, and it will be sometimes individuals who are on the lower end of the power source. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Is there a further discussion? Senator Dames.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and Senator Latz. I have some questions for you on Article 6, the 9/11 emergency communication system. It's my understanding that the companies that will be responsible for implementing this and making sure that the calls from the customers properly get to the first responders and stuff have a lot of questions and concerns in a lot of areas, including technology. I know that the Public Safety Department and those associations have been meeting, but I know there's still a lot of concerns left out there to be, a lot of questions and concerns to be answered before we get to the system of implementing this. So I know there's some concern that maybe we should be meeting over the interim to make sure that we get all of these things ironed out before this system is converted or changed. Can you tell me what's being done to make sure that two things? One is that we do work on this over the interim to implement these corrections or whatever needs to be done, and then that when this system is turned on or converted or whatever language you want to use, that we truly have got everybody on the same page and that this is going to work.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Dames, I've received the same communications that it sounds like you've received in connection with this, specifically from the communications companies. I've also had an opportunity to talk with the governor's office relating to this matter. My understanding is there are conversations that continue between the agency and the communications companies. There's a lot of technical language to go through. We all share a goal of making sure that this language, when implemented, works. So the way I've kind of left it right now is we've got, 5 weeks or 6 weeks left in the legislative session. There's opportunity still for the parties to continue talking and hopefully find a resolution on the language that's going to work and be implementable. If they're unable to do so, we can either not put anything into statute this year and let them work on it over the interim, or we can take the areas where there are agreement, if there's some that could stand alone, and put those into place into statute and leave the other work to be done between now and the next legislative session. So I'm not committed to getting this across the finish line this year, but I would like to see it done this year because it's important to upgrade our 911 emergency systems as soon as we can, but it's got to be done right. I completely agree with you there. So my approach would be to give the parties, the stakeholders, some space to try to get it figured out. It's far too technical and certainly beyond my knowledge, and I think beyond probably the knowledge of most legislators to be able to figure this out. So I'd let the stakeholders, the ones who are working on it on a daily basis to try to figure that out. And if they can, great, let's get it done. If they can't, it'll live to see another day at a different session.
A follow-up, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Senator Latz. So what I'm hearing is that you're committed to stay with this, and if we can't get it done this session, to make sure it gets worked out so we eventually get this done, that you'll kind of spearhead that. Is that a fair?
Mr. Chairman, yes.
Thank you. Thank you,
Further-
Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Further discussion from the committee. Senator Pratt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Latz, I was curious about Article, I think it's Article 3, Public Safety, Section 13 on page 48. I believe it starts on 48.7. It looks like we're increasing a surcharge on homeowner insurance. And I understand that surcharge goes to the fire safety account, but has been at 0.5% for the last 10 years. As home values go up, homeowner insurance premiums go up, we would expect that amount of surcharge to go up. I'm trying to figure out why we're embedding what appears to be a tax rate increase on homeowners in this bill.
Right. Where's the lines that is funded?
Senator
Well,
Latz.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Pratt, before 10 years ago, it was at 0.65. And it was reduced when at the time it was determined that there was sufficient funding in the funding stream to fund the needs of the fire marshal's office and of the firefighter training and education board. Since that reduction, it has been determined that there is not enough funding in the stream to be able to pay for what the firefighters and the fire marshals have determined is the necessary training and education and all the work that the fire marshal's office does. So their proposal that they brought to us was to restore the surcharge to the 0.65 level that it had been in the past, and that would enable them to fund the items that you can find on your spreadsheet, starting on page 3, line 125 is the fire marshal, and through the end of that page. So it would increase funding for the hazardous material response and bomb squad. It would, there's a necessary increase in funding just to maintain current services level for the fire marshal and the bomb squad. Additional staff and operating costs, they've determined that they need an additional 19 FTE to be able to meet the needs for the fire marshal's office. And then firefighter training and education board, there's an increase there for task forces 1 and 2 and for the air rescue and just generally for the training and education. So that's where so that's where the increase would go. And it's a special revenue account, so it doesn't come out of the general fund, and that's the purpose of it.
Senator Pratt.
No, Mr. Chair, I think we all support the work of the fire marshals and the training board. I was just curious, we should, just assuming that, as premiums went up, the amount collected went up. I'm just trying to decide, it just feels like we should be managing to some level of funding rather than a permanent increase that's going to hit every homeowner in the, effectively every property owner in the state, whether it's rental property, whether it's personal residence, and it's nothing against. I understand it was going to the fire safety account, which is why I wanted to understand where the deficit was. Thank you, Senator Latz.
Thank you. Further discussion? If not, Senator Champion.
One last simple question. Senator Latz, thank you for the work and the amendments that you all have done. in Article 10 around the expungement being the person who is the chief author of the current expungement law. I'm always interested in things being done differently, or enhanced or improved and all that other good stuff. Did you all do anything in order to address the stay of imposition issue that sometimes when someone, makes an admission as a felony, and there's an agreement that after 5 years, 3 years, it's going to decay down to a misdemeanor? There's often been this challenge as to whether you deal with it as the felony for purposes of expungement, or do you deal with it as the misdemeanor that has been agreed upon? So anything in that area or on that issue?
Do we clarify the state of imposition and the reduction in terms of the timelines? Senator, Mr. Chairman, Senator Champion, we basically adopted the language from your bill. So I'd have to clarify that. The only thing I'm not certain about is, and I know the issue, the state of imposition of sentence, and if a felony becomes a misdemeanor at the end of the probationary period, what's the waiting period going to be then? And for before you can apply for an expungement. And we're checking on the language. I know this has been an issue in case law as well. There's been some litigation over this.
Further discussion? If not, Senator Friends moves Senate File 2909 as amended be. Senator Pappas wanted to move the bill, I'm told. Okay, Senator Pappas moves Senate File 2909 be as amended be recommended to pass. On that motion, any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion prevails. Senator Latz and Mr. Turner and Mr. Bacchus and all the team who put this together in your committee, thank you very much. We are now getting packets distributed for Senator Champion's bill, Senate File 3035.
I thought you were leaving me a cheat
This is his good ear last time. This is your good ear.
This is my good ear. Yeah. That's true. Because I always listen like this. I hear it better. That's true.
See if you can whittle yours down to that range.
The only element that matches the one. And those are posted. No, I think that we didn't hit it out.
Senator Champion, welcome to the other side of the table.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I told Senator Latz that I'm glad that he's not going to the other side of the table to ask me questions, because I was asking him all kinds of questions. So whenever you'd like for me to proceed, I'll be happy to go forward.
Sure. Why don't we begin with you making your introductory comments, and then Ms. Grunwald-Nogner, or whoever wants to go first after that. But go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the committee for the opportunity to present Senate File 3035. And I know that we'll get into specifics with the two capable ones who are sitting to my left and right, but I'll give some brief comments about this bill. Clearly, what I like to always say, that this bill is a Minnesota bill because it supports businesses and entities from Owatonna and Rochester to the Grand Portage band of Lake Superior, Chippewa, all the way in the corner of the state to the northwest angle where businesses were hurt by the Canadian border closures. We invest millions of dollars in the Minnesota Initiative Foundation, which provides revolving loans programs to each of their 6 regions across the state, and not to mention an investment of $15 million in our child care workforce. This will not only help provide more child care options across greater Minnesota, it would also facilitate more people entering the workforce now that they don't have to stay home with children. As well as this bill is fundamentally about equity, where there isn't a specific equity article, and even though I, along with Senator Jeff Hayden, started doing equity bills back in 2016, this bill gives us a chance to make a significant investment into communities, businesses, and organizations of color that could result in transformational change for their communities and the people they serve. What's also exciting about this bill and for the state of Minnesota is what it means for our future. We allocate $250 million as a match to hopefully secure federal funding from the CHIPS Act, which could yield well over $1 billion of federal and private investment if we are selected. Minnesota used to lead the nation on semiconductor innovation, but we have let the lapse, and we have lapsed over many decades. Now, because of semiconductors and that they're so essential to just maintaining everyday life, they're in cars, light switches, phones, they're everywhere. We know that we need to manufacture them here at home, not abroad. During the pandemic, when Taiwan and China's production was hampered by COVID, this caused a massive supply chain issue and was incredibly disruptive. We can avoid those issues in the future if we produce them here, and we want Minnesota to be a leader in this field. We also allocate $100 million for federal match for bio-industrial manufacturing, or BioMade, which could make Minnesota the home of the first bio-industrial manufacturing campus in the nation. What really struck me when I heard about this, for an example, we could take rubber out of a particular strand of a dandelion. But we have an opportunity, thanks in large part to Congresswoman McCollum, to make Minnesota a national leader in this field, as well as, and we are excited about the potential return on investment that this could yield. And we, as a committee, had the pleasure of having Congresswoman McCollum come and testify and talk about the significance of this investment. One of the other things that I'm proud of in this bill is the Promise Act. It is in Article 3, and it provides significant investment into North Minneapolis and businesses that were largely left behind in the wake of the pandemic and civil unrest after George Floyd's murder. We are targeting $60 million in grants in North Minneapolis, areas of the South, St. Paul, that didn't get relief because they didn't have the financial resources to compete for it. We are also sending money into greater Minnesota through the Minnesota Initiative Foundation. And we've capped the maximum revenue at $350 to try to get at small businesses that can't afford a lobbyist or for someone to advocate for them here at the Capitol. And to really try to get help to people who didn't get it during their initial rounds of other grants and other opportunities. We also invest $40 million in a loan program, which would benefit the same areas, and then, of course, also greater Minnesota as well. And so there's a number of projects that I'm proud of that are included here, whether it's 21 Days of Peace and A Mother's Love, Black Women's Wealth Alliance, the Fathers Project, the Vivo Survivors Employment Readiness Pilot that protects a project that helps victims of domestic violence and sexual assault stabilize their lives. It goes on and on and on. But we also invest in Senator Putnam, who presented issues that are important for St. Cloud. And so we are excited about, again, whether it's cards to careers, hospitality workforce, you name it, this bill really does it. And so we invest in BIPOC communities, youth, Minnesotans with disabilities, people in rural and urban areas alike. We tried to be very intentional about making this bill that helps Minnesotans across the board. And while we will still need to do work in conference committee, we are very proud of what we put together, and hopefully we will be able to earn your support. One last thing that I want to say, and we can get into the details of this, that we also wanted to make sure that DEED was able to do the work and make sure that all the entities were vetted even before we put them on paper. We also requested 990s. We also had DEED who presented and talked about their robust oversight and how they make sure entities, whether they're doing a direct appropriation, get the present all the information that they need before any money is released. But we also learned that it's not just for direct appropriations. It's if I make a direct appropriation to you, Mr. Chair, if your job is to now distribute those funds to the rest of the committee, that the same requirements must follow through. So it doesn't stop at just from one, from D to the direct recipient, but it's also the end user as well. The other thing that was important is that I cover direct appropriation, but this is also true for competitive grants. And we have a number of competitive opportunities for people who are not mentioned directly, so that they still have an opportunity to compete and get the resources that they need, but the same oversight is required. And so, Mr. Chair, at the appropriate time, after we hear from Ms. Noner, who will cover the spreadsheet, and then Ms. Dole Fontaine, who will cover all the other issues in the bill, we then would ask the chair to allow Dee to come forward and talk a little more about their robust oversight, and hopefully that meets the chair's approval. But if not, I'll be ready to deal with the proposed amendment. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Champion, and Ms. Grunwald-Nogner. Welcome to the committee, and please go ahead.
Mr. Chair and members, for the record, my name is Hannah Grunwald-Nolder. I'm the fiscal analyst on the Jobs Committee with Senate Council. And I'll be walking through the spreadsheet that should be provided in your packets. The spreadsheet is titled Jobs and Economic Growth, Senate File 3035, as passed by Jobs Committee. And I'll just start by explaining how to read the spreadsheet first. It's broken up into a summary section on the very first page, and then broken up into two different buckets of funds from the, not necessarily a fund, but two buckets from the targets. So there's an economic development section and a workforce development section. So I'll start by going over those targets. The workforce development was given a target of $240 million in the first biennium and $18 million in the tails. Economic development was given a target of $250 million in fiscal year 24-25 and $15 million in the tails. And then additionally, $500 million target for federal economic development match. And all of these totals are reflected in the summary for the general fund, starting on line 4. Line 6 is showing the economic development, what's included in there. There's certain divisions of D that fall under this jurisdiction. The federal economic development match on line 8 is included in economic development. Explore Minnesota Tourism, Public Facilities Authority, IRRB, Destination Medical Center. And as you can see on line 6, the total, including base for fiscal year 24-25 for economic development, is $948.4 million in fiscal year 24-25 and $208.28 million in fiscal year 26-27. Then on line 14 for workforce development, that includes the remaining divisions of D that did not fall under economic development. And the total here in fiscal year 24-25, including base and the increase, is $331.56 million in fiscal year 24-25 and $109.56 million in fiscal year 26-27. So general fund total on line 23 is a $1.3 billion budget, including base and increase for fiscal year 24-25, and in the tails is $317.8 million. And in the first biennium, that's an increase of $990 million, and in the tails, $33 million. So I'll start going into detail in each section. Like I said, the spreadsheet is broken up into economic development and workforce development. So we'll begin with economic development, which begins on line 26. Every highlighted row that you see on the far right-hand columns, that's indicating a change item. And I'll be focusing mainly on these change items, but if members have questions about base items as we walk through, I'm happy to touch on those as well. So the first change item shows up on line 37. This is the Greater Minnesota Business Development Public Infrastructure Grant Program. It is an existing program and is receiving $1 million increase in the first biennium and $1 million in the tails. Line 38 is a new program for small business development centers of $1 million increase in the first biennium and $1 million in the tails. And this money may be used to match funds under federal programs with the same name to provide tech services and consulting. On line 40, Launch Minnesota is receiving existing base funds for fiscal year 24-25, but does not receive funds in the tails. This bill increases this fiscal year 24-25 appropriation by $6 million. And Launch Minnesota is grants to entrepreneurs or startups to help with operating needs. There's a carve out in this rider that shows up on line 45 for MNSBIR, $3 million a year to support scientific and tech innovation. And there's other carve outs you can see that were already included in the base. On line 46, another new program for Expanding Opportunity Fund. This is a one-time appropriation of $35 million in the first year, and this program is established in Article 4. On line 47, this is Minnesota Forward Fund. This appropriation is part of the federal match target, and it's $150 million one time in the first year. And this is also established, and more details are found in Article 4. And the funds are available until fiscal year 2027. On line 48 is a program for federal matching dollars as well for BioMaid. It's $250 million. This is also part of the federal match target and is to secure federal matching dollars to construct and operate a bioindustrial manufacturing pilot facility and campus, and a few other things included in those facilities and campuses. On line 49, I think I said for BioMaid that was $250 million. That's actually $100 million on line 48. The line 49 for the CHIPS Act is $250 million. And this is also to secure federal funding matching dollars from this CHIPS and Science Act for constructing, modernizing, expanding semiconductor facilities or funding semiconductor materials. On line 50, this is an existing program previously named Business Development Competitive Grant Program. Under this language, it's titled the Small Business Assistant Partnership Program. And the Senate File 3035 is increasing this appropriation by $15 million one time in the first biennium. On line 51, the Community Planning Energy Transition Office is an existing program and is receiving $5 million in one-time funding above base in this bill. So moving on to the second page. Beginning on line 53, the Center for Rural Policy and Development is also an existing program, and this is receiving a $200,000 increase over base one time in fiscal year 24-25. On line 56, local community child care is receiving a one-time increase of $10 million in fiscal year 24-25. And this is for local communities to increase the number of quality childcare providers. And 50% is required to go to non-metro communities, and recipients are also required to have a 50% non-state match. On line 57, this is a new office of child care community partnerships. It's an ongoing appropriation of $1 million in fiscal year '24 and $1 million in the tails. On line 58, this is an existing program, the Minnesota Initiative Foundation's Child Care Development Program. It's receiving a one-time increase of $5 million in the first biennium. On line 64, the redevelopment program is an existing program with Indeed, and it receives $4 million in one-time increase in fiscal year '24-25. Jumping down to line 72, this is the Promise Act that Senator Champion talked about in his opening remarks, and it's a total act of $50 million in each year, and $30 million each year is for Promise Act grants. $20 million is for Promise Act loans. And starting with the grants, there are appropriations, carve-outs for Minnesota Initiative Foundations to cover Greater Minnesota, and another carve-out for Neighborhood Development Center, which would cover North and South Minneapolis and St. Paul. And for Promise Act loans, there's a similar carve-out of part of it going to Minnesota Initiative Foundations, and then the other part going to Metropolitan Economic Development Associations, which would cover North, South Minneapolis, and St. Paul. Then on line 77, this is a new appropriation to Expo 2027 support for $5 million in one-time funding. This is a grant to the Bloomington Port Authority and to fund the Expo 2027 host organization, and this is kind of for various event needs and event funds. Also contingent on the approval of the project by the Bureau of International Expositions. On line 78, there's an appropriation of $5 million in one-time funds to the Neighborhood Development Center. This is a new appropriation in this bill, but it has received funding from the Workforce Development Fund in the past. On line 79, there's a new appropriation for Emerging Developer Fund Program. This is a transfer out to this fund established in the special revenue account. And this is a one-time appropriation of $2.65 million in the first year. On line 80, there's a $5 million appropriation one-time for the Canadian border counties / boundary waters area. And $2.1 million of this is for the excuse me, I lost my place, is for the northernmost county of Minnesota. On line 83, African Economic Development Solutions has a one-time appropriation of $1.5 million. Line 84, the Latino Economic Development Center has a one-time appropriation of $1 million. On line 85, the Community and Economic Development Associates has a one-time appropriation of $627,000. On line 86, there's a one-time appropriation to Women Venture for $6 million. And Women Venture, this appropriation would go towards supporting business expansion for women food entrepreneurs throughout Minnesota's food supply chain. On line 87 is $1 million to Initiative Foundation. Excuse me, I was going down a line here. On line 87 for Initiative Foundations, there's a $6 million appropriation one time, which is split up between 6 initiative foundations across Minnesota. On line 88, there's a $1 million appropriation to Enterprise Minnesota. And this is a new appropriation. These grants would go towards small manufacturing companies to support various economic development initiatives. Line 89 is a one-time appropriation to P-Fund Foundation of $750,000 in the first biennium. And this is this would provide grants to LGBTQ+ owned small business and entrepreneurs. And some would be dedicated to members of racial minority communities, and some would be dedicated to businesses outside of the metro area. Line 90 is a one-time appropriation to Quorum of $250,000 in the first biennium. And this is similar to P Fund Foundations, but it's providing support, training, development, technical assistance for LGBTQ+ owned small businesses who are recipients of the P Fund grant. On line 91, there's a one-time appropriation of $5 million for Metropolitan Economic Development Association, and this is a new appropriation and would be for statewide development assistance to minority-owned businesses, but I believe they may have received workforce development funds in the past. On line 92, there's a one-time appropriation of $5 million in fiscal year 24-25 for a Minnesota-based automotive component manufacturer, and this is a manufacturer who specializes in electric vehicles to expand their manufacturing. On line 93, there's a one-time appropriation of $1.8 million to Taste of Minnesota, which would be a grant to Minneapolis Downtown Council for infrastructure and costs related to this Taste of Minnesota event. And as you can see, there's some base items of remediation and workforce development funds on lines 101 and 105, but there's no new funding there. So I'll move on to page 3. The Deed Minnesota Trade Office is also included in the base, but there's no increases here. So unless there's any questions, I'll move on to just explaining the totals for Deed for the economic development bucket of the target. For the general fund, there's an increase of $727 million over the fiscal year 24-25 biennium and $3 million in the tails. Explore Minnesota Tourism is also under this economic development bucket. And there's some increases here. So I'll begin on line 148, which increases Explore Minnesota Tourism's operating by $4.6 million in fiscal year 24-25 and $1.49 million in the tails. On line 150, there's a one-time appropriation of $12 million for the development of Office of Economic Promotion. And then on line 152, there is a one-time appropriation of $250,000 for Grand Portage to promote tourism in Grand Portage. And jumping back up to line 151, in the tails, there's an increase for building administrative capacity, so $4.5 million beginning in the tails. And that actually, never mind, we have a few more to go through on economic development. On page 4, Public Facilities Authority, Department of Iron Range Resources and Rehabilitation, both of those are included in the base and in this bill, but there are no increases over base here. Then on line 180, the Destination Medical Center, there are some statutory modifications in Senate File 3035, which result in $3 million per year increase over base. So that concludes the economic development portion of this bill. And as you can see on line 209, this change amount here is $750 million, $500 million of that for federal matching dollars and $250 for economic development. So on page 5, this begins the workforce development part of the bill. The remaining divisions of deed are listed here, and no other agencies, so it's just deed under this portion. And under here, there's a lot of direct appropriations to organizations, so I won't go into as much detail as I was going into for programs in the economic development section, but as we go through them, if members have questions about what these organizations do or what purposes the appropriations are for, we can pause and take a look at the rider language. So beginning with line 217, the Return to Work program has an appropriation of $10 million in fiscal year 24-25, one time. And this is a new program providing services to Minnesota older workers. On line 218, the Targeted Population Workforce Program is a new appropriation with $49.8 million in the first biennium and $2.3 million in the tails. And this appropriation is split in the rider between job and entrepreneurial skills training grants, diversity and inclusion training, and capacity building grants. On line 220, the Drive for 5 Workforce Fund receives $30 million in fiscal year 24-25 one time. And the Drive for 5 program is providing job skills training, career counseling, case management, supportive services for careers in tech, labor, the caring professions, manufacturing, and educational professional services. Then jumping down to line 224, the Youth at Work Grant Program receives a one-time increase of $8.96 million. This is an existing program already in the base. On line 225, the Minnesota Youth Program receives a general fund appropriation of $9 million in the first biennium. On line 226, the Office of New Americans is a new appropriation of $1.5 million in the first biennium and ongoing into the base. Minnesota Technology Association SciTech receives a one-time appropriation of $2 million in fiscal year 24-25. Minneapolis Park and Rec Board Teen Teamworks receives $1.5 million one time. Avivo receives a total of $1.8 million in Senate File 3035, $250,000 each year of which would go towards the Survivor Employment Readiness Pilot Project. On line 231, the Getting to Work program receives $2 million in one-time funding. 30,000 feet on line 232 receives one-time funding of $750,000. Boys and Girls Club of Central Minnesota receives a one-time appropriation of $463,000. Boys and Girls Clubs receives $2 million in one-time funding in the first biennium. Owatonna Learn to Earn receives $1 million in fiscal year 24-25 in one-time funding. Line 236, White Bear Center for Art Internship Program receives a one-time appropriation of $500,000. Minnesota Resilience Partnership receives a one-time appropriation of $1.89 million in fiscal year 24-25 and $892,000 continuing in the base. On line 238, the Center for Economic Inclusion receives a $3 million one-time appropriation. Eastside Neighborhood Services receives $1.2 million one-time funding. Ujamaa Place receives $3 million in one-time funding. Copal receives $1 million in one-time funding. Propel Nonprofits receives $6 million in one-time funding. Goodwill Easter Seals, or the Father Project, receives $2 million in one-time funding. On line 244, Pro Start Hospitality receives $250,000 in the first year. Minnesota Diversified Industries receives $1.85 million in one-time funding. And then again for Minnesota Diversified Industries for Career Skills receives $1 million in the first year. On line 247, the Summit Academy OIC, or Opportunity Industrialization Centers, receives $2.35 million in fiscal year 24-25 one time. On line 248, the Minnesota Independence Community College receives one-time funding of $1 million. Online Hospitality Training Program receives $375,000 in fiscal year 24-25 and $50,000 in the tails. On line 250, STEM Competitive Grants receives $3 million in the first year. The Sane Foundation receives $1.5 million in the first year. Among American Partnerships receives $2 million one time in the first biennium. Clues receives $2 million one-time funding in fiscal year 24-25. Then on page 6, beginning with All Square on line 254, receives one-time funding of $600,000 in fiscal year 24-25. The Redemption Project receives $2 million in one-time funding. The Community Action Partnerships of Hennepin County receives $6 million in fiscal year 24-25, and this includes 21 Days of Peace and A Mother's Love appropriations. Mind the Gap receives one-time funding of $1.5 million. International Institute, the New Americans Workforce Training receives $1.1 million. On line 259 for hired, $800,000 in fiscal year 24-25, one time. American Indian Communities OIC receives $1 million in one-time funding. The Southeast Minnesota Workforce Development Area, which includes Owatonna and Steele County, receives one-time funding of $550,000. The Black Women's Wealth Alliance receives $1 million in one-time funding. Abaja's on the backside receives $500,000 in fiscal year 24-25 one time. Project Restore Minnesota Social Kitchen receives $400,000 in the first biennium one time. Minnesota Grocers Association Carts to Careers receives $200,000 one time. Twin Cities Rise receives $1.4 million for training and then $1 million for increasing capacity, both one-time appropriations. Bridges to Healthcare receives $1.5 million in one-time funding. Big Brothers Big Sisters Twin Cities receives $1 million in one-time funding. Line 270 Youth Prize receives $3 million in one-time funding. The YWCA Minneapolis receives $700,000 in fiscal year 24-25 one time. Emerge Community Development receives $1 million one time. Better Futures Minnesota receives $850,000 one time. Pillsbury United Communities receives $1 million in one-time funding. Project for Pride and Living receives $1 million in one-time funding. YMCA of the North receives $600,000 in one-time funding. Al Ma'un, or previously known as North at Work, receives $1 million in one-time funding. Cario receives $1 million in one-time funding. African Immigrant Competitive Grants receives $1 million in one-time funding. The Stair Step Foundation receives $540,000 in one-time funding. Building Strong Communities receives $800,000 in one-time funding. To support the prevailing wage staff, it's receiving an ongoing appropriation of $300,000 in fiscal year 24-25 and $300,000 in the tails. On line 283, Minnesota Community of African People with Disabilities, Roots Connect, and Fortune Relief and Youth Empowerment Organizations. This receives one-time funding of $500,000 in the first biennium. And then finally, Task Force on Youth Interventions receives $500,000 in the first year. And you'll notice beginning on line 286, there's some base appropriations from the Workforce Development Fund. The only increase here is on 292 for Youth Build, which is an existing program and receives a one-time increase of $2.18 million. Moving on to page 7. Under General Support Services at DEED, there's an $8 million one-time increase for maintaining current service levels. And then on line 338, there's a $10 million one-time appropriation for workforce digital transformation or the career force systems. On line 342, there's a workforce development increase of $80,000 in the first biennium and $108 in the tails. And this is to maintain current service levels. On line 350, this is the beginning of the change items under vocational rehabilitation. For extended employment, persons with disabilities, there's an increase of $5 million in fiscal year 24-25, and that increase is in the tails as well. On line 351, employment support for persons with mental illnesses, one-time increase of $4 million in fiscal year 24-25. And then under this same rider, there's an individual placement and supports appropriation for $3.89 million in fiscal year 24-25 and ongoing into the base. On line 353, Centers for Independent Living Grants, there's $12 million in one-time increase for this program. And then I will skip down to line 365. This is a change item for the services for the blind, expansion of $4 million increase in fiscal year 24-25 and $4 million in the tails. On line 367, so one-time appropriation of $4 million in fiscal year 24-25 for the Employer Reasonable Accommodation Program. Then I'll go to the last page, which shows the totals for the workforce development bucket of this bill. So on line 381, you can see the general fund total is $240 million in the fiscal year 24-25 biennium and $18 million in the fiscal year 26-27 biennium. On line 382, the Workforce Development Fund has an increase of $2.2 million in fiscal year 24-25 and $108,000 in the tails. And just to bring your attention back to the front page, everything that I just walked through on the general fund side is showing up on this summary, lines 4 through 23. So that's just kind of a quick reference to show the totals and the total increases in general fund. So at that time, I'll pause and see if members have any questions. I will mention that Article 1 includes all the riders for all of these appropriations. There are a few appropriations with extended like reporting requirements or carve-outs that I mentioned when we were on each appropriation on the spreadsheet. But if members have any questions about the riders, I'm happy to go into more detail.
Mr. Chair?
Senator Champlin.
Mr. Chair, I want to thank Ms. Noner for going through this, and again, we'll stand for any questions at the right time. But one of the things that I'd like for you to, really pay attention to, even as you look at the rider, that it reflects investments in every corner of our state. And I did take the liberty, because I always try to have a balanced bill as well, but out of the 7 appropriation bills, we have both Democrats and Republicans, and that's out of 11 total appropriations bill introduced by Republican chief authors and referred to in the Jobs Committee before second deadline. We also had 30 bills with Republican co-authors and a DFL chief author, so that showed how we really tried to be as inclusive as possible. And there's 21 different Republican members are authors or co-authors of bills introduced here. We also have Senator Nelson, who's a co-author or chief author on at least 14 bills introduced in Senate File 35, and Senator Housley is a co-author of at least 9 bills included. I'm just raising that to show how we try to be as inclusive as possible, look all across our state to make these important investments. So, and the second thing is that you'll notice that we had to do a number of one-time appropriations because we did not have money for the tails, and I know that I also will continue to make this commitment to Senator Pratt, and I talked about how do we make sure that the suburbs also are included intentionally, and that's going to be an ongoing something that we will certainly wrestle with and work through. Lastly, the reason why you have workforce and economic development is because the House has 2 different jurisdictions, so we had to have a target for each of those, just so you understand why we are there. So thank you, Mr. Chair, and if you like, we can have Senate Council kind of
Before Ms. Doyle-Fontaine goes, first of all, we do have a technical amendment you have, and I wonder if we should put that on now. It was
yes,
A17 amendment, or A18 amendment. It should be in the packet.
yes. And if you like, we could have fiscal staff go over that if you would like for her to go over the technical amendment.
Okay. It was not in the packet, so we just please pause for 1 second while it's distributed. And Senator Champion, while it's being distributed, just looking at time check, we have about 15 minutes till you're presiding over the Senate. And we have Ms. Doyle-Fontaine's go through, we have the commissioner here who may wish to speak briefly. I assume that if the commissioner's going to be here after a break, yes, so we could deal with that then.
Yes, sir.
But adopt the amendment. Would you like to have Ms. Doyle-Fontaine begin going through the, Ms. Grunwald-Noldner go through as well? Anyway, the A18 amendment first.
Mr. Chair and members, I won't go through every line here. A lot of this is purely technical, conforming a lot of the rider language to look the same when there's one-time appropriation or when there's a base setting in fiscal year 26 and beyond. So a lot of that is conforming language. Page 1 is completely technical. On page 2, lines 2.1 through 2.17 is all technical, similar to the first page, just conforming language with riders, so they all look the same. On lines 2.18 through 2.22, this is just balancing out this appropriation. It had two different amounts in fiscal year 24 and 25, so it's just balancing that out and balancing out the carve-outs underneath that appropriation. This is for targeted populations. And then beginning again on 2.23, the rest of the page here is technical. On the next page, this entire page is also technical, conforming language, and also, as you can see on line 3.15, allowing some appropriations to have the balance not cancel in the first year, but available in the second year. Then on the last, or not on the last page, on the next page, page 4, again, this is all technical, very similar to the other technical changes. Page 5, lines 5.1 through 5.10 are also technical. There's a few appropriations that needed to have their base set for fiscal year 26-27, so you'll see that in 5.7 through 5.10. And then on line 511, this is reducing the $12 million appropriation to Minnesota tourism for the office development by $500,000, which is then allocated on line 5.13. Up to $500,000 can be used to market and promote cultural venues and events located within census tracts based on the most recent data published by the U.S. Census Bureau, where 40% or more of the population is non-white, 35% or more of the households have an income at or below 200% of the federal poverty level, or 40% of or more of the population over the age of 5 have limited English proficiency. And that's just a one-time appropriation in the first year. Then the last two lines are just technical, so that is the entirety of the amendment, Mr. Chair.
On Senator Champion's A18 amendment, is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion prevails. Should we begin? Senator Champion, your call.
I'm thinking that that this is a good place to pause, and then once we come back, if the chair so allows, then we can have Senate Council sort of walk through the rider language and make sure we do that, and then we can have Deed come up and talk about the reporting requirements.
If that sounds good, it sounds good to me. So what we will do then is we will recess the committee until, let's try for 30 minutes after floor session ends, and because we still have this and two other bills today, I'll urge members to please try and grab their lunch or whatever and get back here promptly. Oh, yes, and Mr. Nauman points out that, as I indicated at the very beginning, briefly, Senator Champion, once we've gone through it, we'll lay it over until we deal with the labor bill, which would then be, the intent would be to fold that into Senator Champion's bill before passing that out, and then we would deal with Senator Klein's bill after both of those bills are completed. And with that, this committee will be in recess till 30 minutes after the adjournment of session. And you can